I know the first half was good, minus one defensive drive and a bad holding call on our part. So I mean, it's a great win, region win. They all go on a barrel at the end of the year, and you need them. So I'm thankful for the win.
How important was it for you to get some young guys, some experience in the second half?
No, it's great. They practice hard every day. They've been here every day since January, and they're a big part of our team. They help us every week get better in practice, and I was glad they got to play. I'm happy for them.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank
Christina,
y'all.
thank you so much. It's great to hear from Coach after a big region win. John, I love what we saw tonight. That first half was great. That first drive of the second half started from the Oak Mountain 35-yard line, but Trent is finding his rhythm, and those receivers are really starting to gel with him. Loved that last drive by the starters.
Yeah, it was really good, and even with the rain starting to come down, still being able to throw it a little bit, run it a little bit. I think you saw a good, well-balanced offense. I feel like it has been mostly run-heavy. You had to rely on the pass a little more against a team like Grayson, and then still a little bit against Lipscomb Academy, but Dujon exploded against Lipscomb, really played well against Tuscaloosa County, really played well, of course, in this game.
Yes, sir.
Where you didn't need him after the first quarter and a half, really. But RJ did a great job as well. Trent did a great job throwing the ball, something that he hasn't had to really do this season so far, but he did it anyway, and that's why when they came out in the rain, it's like, look, I still want to see him throw it. Let's see a rain throw. When he doesn't have to, you don't have to. It was a 35-7 game at that point, but you still learn a lot about what that offense can do. Let him come out there, have a really solid drive, and call it a day for them and get those other young guys some experience.
So at 8:35 on a Friday night, this game is complete, and we'll take a quick break, and then Tim Melton will host our post-game show. You're listening to Warrior Football on the Warrior Nation Network.
Whataburger's new Bacon Steakhouse Double. Do you need it or do you want it? Do you need creamy steak sauce, crispy fried onions, aged cheddar, and crunchy bacon? Or do you want creamy steak sauce, crispy fried onions, aged cheddar, and crunchy bacon? And what even is a want if we want the want so badly that the want becomes a need? How should I know? I just pushed the card. Enjoy your burger.
Creamy, crispy, crunchy.
Whataburger's new Bacon Steakhouse Double.
Just like you want it and need it.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 is so good, the crew is giving every combination code names.
I got that sauce biscuit and some tay-tays.
More formally known as sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes.
Bis squared.
Egg and cheese biscuit and sausage biscuit. 2 biscuits. I'm impressed Tyler knew what squaring was.
Cup of dubba java.
It's 2 coffees.
Cup of dubba java.
No matter what you call it, Wendy's breakfast is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Athletic training services are provided by Encore. Encore's sports medicine division sees that every athlete, professional and amateur, receives the highest quality of athletic training services. Encore's goal is to get athletes back to performing at the highest level. As the largest privately owned rehabilitation company in the Southeast, Encore Rehabilitation, Inc. helps people get back to their lives through physical therapy, occupational therapy, aquatic therapy, sports medicine, and other orthopedic rehabilitation programs. And welcome in. We are officially here on the Warrior Nation Network postgame show presented by Wendy's, Abide Roofing, and Central Alabama Asphalt. I am Tim Melton, and what a win yet again for your Thompson Warriors. 42-7 is the final score here from Warrior Stadium, as it was a wet one tonight. That is part of the storyline for sure. I'm joined in the booth by the voice of the Warriors, Matthew Moyer, and two-time state champion and color analyst here on the Warrior Nation Network, Mr. John Lunsford. Guys, we were wondering how big of a factor weather would play in this game, and a very similar score outcome, John, to what we saw 1 week ago with a very similar weather pattern.
Yeah, it's basically, 2 weeks, same thing, same song, second verse. Rain in Tuscaloosa, rain here, same turf field. And, this helps your team, learn how to deal with a little adversity. Rain is tough to deal with. Of course, both teams have to deal with it. It's not just Thompson. having to deal with it. But you see the highlights here. I mean, early on at 6 o'clock when the game started, nothing. I mean, it was a little humid, but that was about it. And, rain didn't really start pouring. It kind of started sprinkling in the second quarter. But really by the time Thompson was done with what they were doing, then the rain started. So they didn't really have to deal with it in a clutch situation necessarily, but still able to get a couple drives in with the starters in the rain, especially there at the beginning of the second half. And then getting some new names in there, it was, good to see those new names get in there.
We want to remind you, if you're hungry after the game, to stop by Wendy's on Kent Dairy Road for a late-night snack. Our favorite are the new spicy nugs. Get them in one of 4 bold flavors: ghost pepper, buffalo, garlic parm, and honey barbecue. They're drippy, they're yummy, they're all the things. I'll be honest, Matthew, I could have used a witch's cauldron full of nugs. It would have been very nice to have at some point in the game, but instead what we got is a very rainy affair here. But you brought it up in the game, and I'm going to stick to it because it really was impressive. Not a lot of people left, even though it was pouring down rain. And I'm talking about on both sides. I think that Oak Mountain should be very proud of sticking through this one with the rainy conditions.
Yeah, the fans did a wonderful job sticking it out. I think it proved very smart to move that game forward an hour as we got at least the first half and maybe a little teeny bit of the second half in before the rain really started to fall. What I will tell you is I think people probably loaded up on those Wendy's nuggets because my son and I stopped before the game and gave them a try, and they are fantastic. The young lady that was serving us had her Warriors jersey on. She was so proud, and she said, we love supporting our Warriors. And so those fans must have had them as well, because you are exactly right. People stuck it out. It was a great game. Warriors are now 2-0 in region play and have to be very pleased.
Well, let's talk about some of the nuggets that we are taking away from this contest. I'm sticking with the theme here, John, until it dries up. I'll tell you what's not dry, those nuggets. Yeah. They're very good. Mm-hmm. Okay, my question to you, John, offensively. We saw a couple of things tonight that I personally really enjoyed seeing as a Thompson Warriors broadcaster, as part of the faithful here that watches them week in and week out, and that was them airing out the ball a little bit, being a little bit more forceful with taking some of those deep shots. Are we going to see, you think, more of that maybe a week from now against Vestavia?
I hope so. I mean, this is the kind of thing, if you can do it here, and I know it wasn't raining as hard early, but a game like this, it was coming in, and we're like, well, when the rain starts, it's just going to be running the ball. It's just going to be run. Michael Dujon, R.J. Evans, whoever can run the ball. Well, no, it actually ended up airing it out, and it was being aired out even when the rain started there in the second half. It was fun to see that. It was fun to see some deep passes. It's not just, pass plays. It's deep passes there, early on, and that's good to see because I feel like a lot of the passing game was, let's keep it short, let's keep it, I guess safe would be the word to use there. Let's just throw to our check down guy, the running back, a lot of times. But this time it was, hey, I'm going to find a man down the field. And, it was multiple receivers down the field, multiple times for touchdowns that were, 30-plus yards. That it's something we really hadn't seen from Trent this season. Now, we have seen it from Trent in general a lot. But, it didn't really happen against Grayson. That was a very tough team to do it against. Didn't really happen against Lipscomb Academy. And last week it was raining from basically the beginning, so it was hard to do. Here, being able to see that early on has kind of given some new game film to teams like Vestavia next week and Clay Chalkville and Hewitt-Trussville, the next 3 games on the schedule, to say, oh, man, Trent Seaborn's back. Trent Seaborn's throwing the ball, and he's throwing the ball very well.
Matthew, let's go from nuggets to rolls, because there were a couple of times that Thompson had to punt tonight, and those rolls were amazing on the punts for sure.
Yeah, we mentioned it a couple of times during the game, but the special teams from the Warriors has just been on point through these first 4 games. When McGuire is called upon to punt, they have been absolutely fantastic. He's getting the ball off of his foot correctly because he's getting a Thompson roll almost every single time, and that is such a weapon that people just don't think about unless, of course, you're a 2-time state champion. But it really has helped the Warriors through these first 4 games.
I mean, even the very last one he had, how much did he punted? I mean, I know it was kind of a blowout in the first half, so he didn't punt a lot. But in the pouring down rain, after kicking all game, still kicked a 60-plus yarder. with a little bit of a roll all the way down inside the 10-yard line.
It got to a point where Oak Mountain didn't even want to put anybody back there to get them. They were just in such awe of the punts that they just wanted to see how far it would roll there. And it was quite an impressive feat because, John, it is a game of field position at the end of the day. I know it's the touchdowns that make the big highlights, but being able to stick your opponent deep in their own side of the field, it is a very valuable sort of effort.
And Thompson has won the field position battle, I think, every single game. Even the game against Grayson, it was that very first drive that led to a touchdown, and then still able to control things a little bit when it came to field position. It's just Thompson couldn't really capitalize on it. You still have to be able to capitalize on it in order to get points on the board and win, obviously. But, overall, John Allen McGuire's done a great job. The offense is able to move the ball a little bit, even when they're not really clicking in a game like Grayson. They moved the ball across the 50 multiple times. They just never resulted in points. And then, of course, against Lipscomb and definitely last week and this week, the field position battle has been won from the beginning by Thompson, but then the last couple of weeks they've been able to put the points on the board too.
Matthew, let's look at the Oak Mountain side of this thing because this is an offense that is used to being able to do what they want to do when they want to do it. That's been their story this year so far. Even in defeat, they've been able to put points on the board. Tonight, it is a very humbling experience when you walk out of the stadium only with 7 when you're this level of offense. It does deserve a lot of credit. The Thompson defense definitely deserves a lot of credit for being able to stifle Oak Mountain the way they did this evening.
And I think this defense is going to humble a lot of teams moving forward. They hadn't faced a team like Thompson yet. And I'm not taking away anything from their first 3 opponents, but Thompson's just at a different level. When you look at the defense and the way that it's playing and how they're all swarming to the ball, they're communicating well. John mentioned it during the first half that Vinny Pyers is like a quarterback out on that field, and you can see it all the way through, and they've hit a stride right now that as they continue to get stronger, it's going to be very interesting to watch this defense really dominate games.
And John, for future opponents that are watching the tape on this Thompson team, they've got to be a little bit nervous because it's not just 1, 2, it's 3, 4 Thompson Warrior defenders that are making the tackles. I mean, you're getting hit quick and you're getting hit with full force. That's kind of a scary thing for any offense that's going to be coming into town.
I mean, probably the most impressive play I saw on the defense all night was Jared Smith came in on a blitz at the quarterback full speed, then turned around because the quarterback kind of saw it coming, got the pass out really fast to a receiver who was at the boundary on the opposite. He was on the opposite hash mark and ran all the way and chased him down to keep it only about a 2 or 3 yard gain. I mean, he's as fast as the wide receivers tonight. And I'm sure there's plenty of really speedy wide receivers out there that are probably faster than an edge rusher. But, I mean, it just showed how incredible that this defense is. And typically, an edge rusher is not the guy that's going to chase down across the field. That would be more of a defensive back or a really quick linebacker, which Vinny Pyers has done a great job with. But, I mean, some of these tackles tonight, it's like they have done an incredible job taking the right angles. They practice well. They're holding their assignments really well and making really good open field tackles.
Let's go ahead, John, and now award our Player of the Game presented by HCR Cabinets. HCR Cabinets and Countertops is a proud supporter of the Thompson Warriors. Tonight's HCR Cabinets Player of the Game is?
We talked about Trent Seaborn opening things up a little bit and throwing it deeper, and a lot of those passes early on going to Price Lewis there, number 7. You see him on the screen. Incredible job tonight, really getting open, allowing Trent to find him. And, right off the bat, big deep play. You saw the highlight a couple of minutes ago, and he just kept finding him also in returning every punt tonight, making smart decisions there, especially when it started raining, not do anything that would lead to a mistake. So overall, really, really solid job from Price Lewis tonight, and he's definitely going to be a receiver that everybody has got to keep an eye on for the rest of the season.
All right, congratulations to Price Lewis. HCR Cabinets and Countertops is Birmingham's cabinetry and countertop specialist, specializing in prefabricated, semi-custom, and custom cabinetry. Visit their showroom today. They specialize in design for new construction, home remodels, commercial, and residential properties in Birmingham and Central Alabama. Call them to schedule your free in-home consultation and design at 205-669-9550. I saw those shades that Price had on in that photo, and I'm thinking to myself, the only person that I think could pull that off, Matthew Moyer. He's the only one. He's the only guy I think could make that look really good. And other than price, of course. When we get back, I'm going to ask Matthew about Coach Freeman and his messaging that we got there on the sidelines from Christina throughout the course of this game. We'll be right back. This is the Warrior Nation Network postgame show presented by Wendy's, Abide Roofing, and Central Alabama Asphalt.
Late night decisions aren't my strength.
I could do another episode.
I should check out that noise coming from the woods.
Let's get tattoos!
But one call that never fails is Wendy's, where every burger starts with fresh beef. Unlike my ankle dolphin, I never regret a Baconator. Have a good bite. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's late night.
Hours may vary. Fresh beef available in contiguous North America.
In sports, every point counts. And at Alpha Insurance, we know when it comes to your budget, every dollar counts. That's why we work to get you the lowest rates and best discounts available. Call Alpha agent Dustin Ellison at 205-938-9881.
Welcome back in live to the Warrior Nation Network postgame show presented by Wendy's, Abide Roofing, and Central Alabama Asphalt. As promised, as you get a look at some of the highlights from today's contest, got to ask Matthew Moyer this question, and that is, it looked to me like Coach Freeman was happy with tonight's game, but not necessarily satisfied. And that's what you really want, in my opinion, from every championship level coach. And that's exactly what the Warriors have right here in this staff that's going to continue to get this team ready to perform at the highest level each and every week.
He mentioned it to Christina as we were going to the half. His team had just scored 21 unanswered points. He was very happy with that, but he immediately knew what he wanted to address at halftime. Tim, you're exactly right. That's exactly what you would want from a championship-level coach. It's something that he had his mind on. He was focused on it. Very happy with what he saw in that first half, and yet knew what he wanted to address right away.
John, if you're a Thompson Warrior fan, you've got to be happy. You've got the facilities, you've got the coaching staff, you've got the talent at the player positions, you've got composure, you've got pedigree. I mean, what is this team missing right now to be able to potentially go all the way and hoist yet another blue map?
Well, I know what Mark Freeman would answer. The answer would be discipline to him, because I know he's not happy about those penalties like you just talked about. But, I mean, as a fan watching in the stands, you see the scoreboard and say, I'm satisfied with that. It's 42-7. Last week it was 47-7. 3-1, 2-0 in region play. That's what you want to see. There's always things to improve on. It doesn't matter what happens in the game. There is always stuff to improve on. But it seems like from, game one to now, the improvements have been made. They have been made, and they're doing very well. It's a great staff, like you mentioned. The players are learning. Fundamentally, you try to improve every single day. And, it's going to get a little tougher next week with Vestavia, especially after a big win tonight for them. But, you just keep working on those same things. And, obviously as a fan, you hope the scoreboard stays the same.
We want to remind you at Abide Roofing, they understand that your home is your most valuable asset, and they are committed to protecting it with top quality roofing solutions. Whether you need roof repairs, replacements, or installations, their team of experienced professionals deliver exceptional service and lasting results. Back to the Oak Mountain sort of side of things here, Matthew. Mm-hmm. It really gets to a point where it doesn't matter if you're able, if you once again want to go through your progressions as a quarterback, a very talented quarterback at that, if you're constantly under pressure the entire night and you've got these Warriors right in your face, 1, 2, 3 coming right at you, and that was the storyline here, which is why it was such a lopsided affair.
I've been able to see a couple of their games as we were playing on Thursday night. Those Friday nights were available, and so their quarterback, Will O'Dell, had not seen that kind of pressure yet. He had time to work through a progression. He was having time to decide, hey, is this the right opportunity to run? Should I hand it off? Should I make the pass? Not tonight. It was a completely different set of circumstances. It's something that if they want to be successful moving forward, they're going to have to address it. Those decisions have to come a whole lot quicker. I'll be very interested to see what the yardage was from coming into tonight. I saw several posts about 7A's leading offensive player. I'd be interested to see what that looks like after tonight.
Let's talk a little bit about the depth of Oak Mountain. It was a big issue, I think, John, in that this is not a team that has nearly as many bodies as that of the Thompson Warriors, and you suffer maybe a couple of injuries, you have a couple players come out of the game, and all of a sudden your depth and the lack thereof is being exposed relatively early in this one.
Yeah, Myrick's the running back, got injured early on. I think it's just cramp. He came back, but that was a few plays that, that's a very much a key player who was gone from this offense. Oh no, what do we do? I think it's a little different maybe than Evan Smith was at Oak Mountain because he was very much it. But Will Odell's been able to spread the ball around a little bit more, throw it well, hand it to his running back, and have a little bit more of a complete offense. But when you lose any piece of that, when he is very much, the guy in that offense, it definitely hurts to lose some of those people. And the depth was there. You can see on the sideline across the way, just not quite the same as the sideline that you see here. It's not quite the same as what you see with Hoover, what you see with Vestavia, what you see with a lot of these other schools in 7A Region 3 with Hewitt as well. And overall, I mean, I did not watch Oak Mountain to this point. I had watched Briarwood, who they opened their season with, and won by 10. And Briarwood is one of the furthest things from Thompson that you can get when it comes to that defensive line. They play alma mater Homewood and got run off the field, and they're down to 5A, and it's just not quite the same Briarwood team that it used to be. And, seeing that score and then seeing, you're about to go up against this defensive line, that offensive line's going to get tired real fast, and you don't have a lot of depth there. On the other side of the ball, that defensive line's going to get tired real fast. Those defensive backs are going to get tired real fast, having to chase Price Lewis down the field. That's just something you don't deal with against those teams you played early on that you have to deal with Thompson. And like I said, it's not even just Thompson necessarily. It's saying that Thompson's so much bigger than everybody else when it comes to that sideline. Hoover's that way, Hewitt's that way, Vestavia's that way. And it's something that Oak Mountain's about to deal with a lot of those teams that way.
Matthew, I've got to be transparent here. You're a couple of games in as the voice of the Warriors, and there is a certain type of play call that it breaks my heart when you attempt to make it. And I hope we can be transparent here. I hate to do this really live on the air, but just hear me out.
All right.
It's those dropped interception opportunities that we're seeing from Thompson because you're on the cusp of excitement. We're all right there with you. We're watching the action. It's right in their hands. At one point tonight, it was almost called an interception from you, and then the ball goes straight down to the ground. That is a tough thing. If we're going to nitpick about things that we really would like to see, some of those grabs can be game changers, and I would like to see us come away with some of those INTs.
I think a couple of them were very surprising to our players in that it was right between the numbers. Mm-hmm. Now, on one of them, the Oak Mountain quarterback had put some heat on it. It came in quickly, and so I'll give him a pass on that. And then the one late in the game, that rain may have affected it. You've got a wet jersey. Sure. It hits those numbers, and those numbers are a little bit slicker than the jersey itself, plus the ball being slick. But, yeah, there were at least 3 times that I can think of where we could have had interceptions that make this even more of a lopsided affair.
But you got to agree with me. You want to make that call real bad. I can feel it. I can feel it.
I do.
At one point, the rain was coming through the glass. You were going through the other end of it trying to make that call, and I so badly wanted you to be able to do that. But hopefully we'll get there for sure, and hopefully the weather conditions cooperate in a couple of games for us because it has been a wild series of events. I feel like we're playing the board game Jumanji every single time we get a chance to play some football because we just don't know what to prepare for out there in the wild portion of the field. This is the Warrior Nation Network postgame show. We'll be right back. It's presented by Wendy's, Abide Roofing, and Central Alabama Asphalt.
This is Travis Lloyd with Abide Roofing. We offer comprehensive residential and commercial roofing solutions. Our expert team delivers top quality workmanship using the best materials to ensure your roof provides lasting protection and aesthetic appeal. We're proud to partner with Thompson Athletics. Go Warriors!
Hey Warrior family, are you in need of any carpet cleaning services? Steamworks' highly trained and top-rated team has been the carpet and upholstery cleaner of choice for many local residents and businesses in the Birmingham metro area since 2005. We use the industry's most advanced cleaning equipment to clean your carpets, rugs, tiles, upholstery, and hardwood floors to the utmost satisfaction. For a cleaner and healthier home, call Steamworks today at 205-365-1908 and ask about our 3-room special for $120. And go Warriors!
It was a wet one, but it turned into another win for the Warriors, and that is what matters most. The Warrior Nation Network postgame show rolls on here, presented by Wendy's, Abide Roofing, and Central Alabama Asphalt. Okay, John, let's go ahead and look ahead at the schedule here for these Warriors. A 42-7 win tonight. That is another region win. Very important one to have. Coach Freeman talked about how notching those region wins, it starts to add up for sure, and you want those towards the end of your schedule. As we take a look ahead at the schedule, all signs point to next week being a very important one for the Warriors as they're facing a team that's much better than their record states.
Yeah, Vestavia Hills, that game is going to be a tough one. They got a huge win tonight, 49-17 over Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, a team who came into Region 3 and I thought, and a lot of people thought, could potentially compete for a playoff spot. They started with Hoover and Vestavia, so not the easiest teams to start with in their Region 3 journey, but Vestavia, that is a huge momentum builder for them. They're going to be so pumped up for Thompson coming into that stadium, and I think the losses they endured were two really good teams. Carver's good, Auburn's good, Hewitt's good, but they've improved. They went from a really bad loss to just kind of a bad loss to a blown opportunity at the end to an absolute blowout tonight against Hillcrest. So that's a very important game. It's going to be very important for both because Vestavia does not want to start region play 1 and 2 and basically be playing catch up to teams they probably should be ranked ahead of. Then that next week, Clay, that is such an important game. It's not a region game, but it's so important from kind of really for both teams, gauging where they are when it comes to the toughest competition you can possibly play. Clay, still unbeaten in 6A. They've been really solid. They've blown out everybody they've played this year. Jalen Mbakwe is not there anymore, but still a very solid team. It'll be a good test for both teams. And then Hewitt, their crosstown rival, they don't play anymore. Well, Thompson's playing both of them, and Hewitt-Trussville gets to come to Warrior Stadium, and they are currently up 7-0 over Hoover at halftime. But that will probably be a close game down to the wire if I had to guess, just like it was against Vestavia. But they did get that very important win. So at that point, they will be trying to go for the region title. I don't know what their back half of the schedule is like, but getting past Vestavia, and if they get past Hoover tonight, that'll be two very tough opponents and potentially your 4 playoff teams. Then at Hillcrest, we'll see where they are at that point. 0-2 so far, but 2 tough games there. And then Hoover at home, Prattville at home. Hoover, I think, will be able to compete for a playoff spot despite all the offseason stuff that happened with them. And then, of course, Prattville, they are dying to make it back to the playoffs after struggling in Region 2 the last few years, and they are really hoping that they get a chance. They're all over Tuscaloosa County tonight, so they're going to start 2-0 in region play, but same 2 teams that Thompson has played, just basically flip back and forth, Oak Mountain and Tuscaloosa County. Then they'll hit their tough part of the schedule, and if they just get one more win, just one more in region play, then all of a sudden a win against Thompson puts them in the playoffs potentially, and potentially even moves them up higher than that. So than just the 4 seeds. So it'll be a very important game at the end.
Absolutely. A very important look ahead there in the schedule. We appreciate that, John. Does your blacktop need freshening up? Need new asphalt poured? Central Alabama Asphalt and Construction Company, LLC, specializes in blacktop work, offering top-notch services tailored to meet the needs of their customers. Give them a call at 205-349-0910. Time to put the final stamp here on this one. Matthew, I know this was a very deeply personal matchup for you tonight. You have spent a lot of time watching a lot of Oak Mountain football. And here you are tonight making new memories with the Thompson Warriors. Talk a little bit about the respect you want to pay to your former football life and what you see ahead here for the Thompson team that you cover on a weekly basis.
Oak Mountain was wonderful to me and to my family. I will be forever grateful. Could not be more grateful to be part of the Warrior family and the Warrior Nation Network. My son, my entire family was with me tonight, which was wonderful. But my son came with me earlier, and Coach Freeman gave us a couple of moments of his time, and I shared with him, Coach, I am so blessed by this opportunity. I thank God daily, and I truly mean that. It's such an incredible honor to be part of the Warrior family and to be part of Warrior Nation Network and to work with you two guys. I shared that with you after the game last week. I have the utmost respect for the two of you and everyone at VVMM. It's just an incredible crew, and you pinch yourself in situations like this, and it's just a gift, and I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity.
John, after that speech, I should have went to you first, but unfortunately, you're the one that's got to close us out here. That was lovely, Matthew. Thank you for sharing that off of your heart. John, how would you, if you had to pick one word to describe tonight's contest and how you'll remember it, what would that word be after a 42-7 win for the Thompson Warriors?
Complete. I know there's penalties, and that's ultimately led to that 7-point blemish on that defense's record. But outside of that, the defense played really solid and played a pretty complete game. The offense did as well. The special teams did as well. I think this is the first game where the defense and special teams have not scored any points, because you had the safety last week and you had a couple of non-offensive touchdowns the 2 weeks before that. But it doesn't matter when the offense is putting up the points they are. Overall, it's a complete performance, even in the rain, getting a big blowout win.
Well, John, that is, I think, going to complete our broadcast for this evening. Once again, a 42-7 victory for the good guys tonight. The Thompson Warriors getting a win here at home in region play. A very important win for sure. As you see there, our cast and crew that makes each and every week possible. We really appreciate Matthew Moyer, the voice of the Warriors, and what he's brought with his talents here to the broadcast booth. And John Lunsford, who's a part of every single asset that we have as a part of our broadcast, pregame, both pregame shows, the actual call, the halftime show, the postgame show, sharing his expertise with us. Couldn't do it without him. That's going to do it for us here on the Warrior Nation Network. We appreciate our entire crew. Tim Melton signing off.